Hello students, today we are going to talk about phospholipids. Phospholipids are basically lipids, and the definition of the lipids, you all know that these are the heterogeneous compounds related to fatty acids which are soluble in organic solvent and insoluble in inorganic solvents. Lipids are basically classified into three classes: simple lipids, compound lipids or complex lipids, and dry lipids. Phospholipids is example from the compound lipids or the complex lipids. Phospholipids are polar or ionic compounds which are composed of alcohol, fatty acid, and they may also contain the phosphoric acid, plus some may contain the nitrogenous base or they may not contain the nitrogenous base. If we talk about the phospholipids, these are further classified based on the alcohol which they have. If they have the glycerol as a backbone, that will be known as the glycerophospholipid, or if they have the sphingosine alcohol as a backbone, they will be known as sphingospholipids. Here's the structural detail of the phospholipids. Here you see the glycerophospholipids which have the glycerol backbone. Along with the glycerol backbone, that backbone is linked to fatty acid. It may have two fatty acids and one phosphate group. This phosphate group can be attached to any of the nitrogenous base. Here it can be serine, ethanol amine, choline, inositol or so on. And it has two fatty acids at carbon number 1 and carbon number 2. Sphingospholipids which contain sphingosine backbone, and this backbone is linked to one fatty acid, one phosphate group, and this phosphate group is further linked to choline. Let's understand these things in detail. Basically, phospholipids may be amphipathic in nature as well because they have the hydrophobic head, polar head, which is composed of phosphate group and alcohol group. So this alcohol group and phosphate group increases the polarity of phospholipids, and the hydrophobic nature of phospholipid is because of the fatty acid chain and the glycerol or sphingosine alcohol part. Phospholipids can be of different types depending upon the group they are having. For example, these are certain examples of the phospholipids. For example, these four at the top phospholipids contain the nitrogenous base. It means these phospholipids have fatty acid, alcohol, and phosphate group. Along with that, they have nitrogenous base here. Whereas these three examples, phosphatidyl inositol, phosphatidyl glycerol, and cardiolipins, these do not contain the nitrogenous base, but they have certain other groups here, and these groups are linked via ester linkage. Whereas the last two examples which you see here, plasmalogen and platylate activating factor, these are examples of phospholipids which particularly have ether linkage, not the ester linkage. So we start with the phosphatidic acid, which is the parent phospholipid. This phosphatidic acid particularly is the simplest phospholipid which do not have particular role, but this is one of the main precursor for synthesis of the rest of the phospholipids. This phosphatidic acid is intermediate in the synthesis of triglycerols and other phospholipids. Here you can see the structure. Basically, it has this glycerol molecule here, and the glycerol molecule, the first carbon is attached with the fatty acid. The third carbon is attached with the fatty acid. The first carbon is attached with the fatty acid. The second carbon is attached with the fatty acid, whereas the third carbon is attached with the phosphate group. This simple phosphatidic acid can be represented as, so here you have the glycerol backbone where carbon 1 and carbon 2 are attached with the fatty acid and carbon 3 is attached with the phosphate group. This phosphate group can further have nitrogenous base or cannot have the nitrogenous base. So this simple phosphatidic acid is the basic unit of most of the glycerol phosphatidic acids. One example or the first example for the glycerol phosphatidic acids is lecithin, which contains alcohol, fatty acid, phosphoric acid and choline. This choline here is the nitrogenous base. So here you can see the structures. I have also shown the structures from the book so you can refer, but the structures are not mandatory. But here for understanding I have shown you the basic structure. This glycerol is the backbone. This first carbon is attached with the fatty acid, the second carbon is attached with the fatty acid and the third carbon is attached with the phosphoric acid which is further attached to the choline. This choline is the nitrogenous base. So this is the basic unit which is the phosphatidic acid and here the choline is attached. This lecithin is mostly found in the brain. It's found in the nervous tissues, it's found in the egg yolk and sperms and particularly it acts as the surface active agent. So let's discuss the example of the lecithin. Before going to that, here you can see with the structure that lecithin has the phosphatidyl group and the choline. So we can call it as phosphatidyl choline. One example from the lecithin is dipalmitoyl lecithin. As the name indicates, dipalmitoyl means it will have the two palmitic acids as a fatty acids. Here at the carbon number 1 of the glycerol, you see one fatty acid is attached. Carbon number 2 also contain one more fatty acid which is the palmitic acid. Carbon 3 which is linked to the phosphate group and this phosphate group is linked to the choline which is a nitrogenous base. So this dipalmitoyl lecithin or dipalmitoyl phosphatidyl choline is basically a pulmonary surfactant. This is the main compound which is used for the pulmonary surfactants. This helps in decreasing the breath load, plus it helps to prevent the alveolar collapse during the breathing. This is particularly used for in the medicines which are manufactured for treating respiratory distress syndrome. This respiratory distress syndrome occurs when there is the deficiency of dipalmitoyl lecithin. So this dipalmitoyl lecithin is given via different medicines to treat the respiratory distress syndrome. Lecithin is used for the number of the functions in the body. Since it contains choline as a nitrogenous base, so this is a depot of the choline or you can say it is a reservoir of the choline. This choline when it is needed, it is released from the lecithin and this choline helps in nerve transmission and it also helps in transmethylation. Along with that, this is structure component of the plasma membrane and responsible for the transport across the cell membrane. This also has the lipoprotein. It's also a lipoprotein which helps in the transport of the lipids. Plus, this dissolves the cholesterol in bile acid. It also converts cholesterol to ester with the help of the alkate enzyme which is lecithin cholesterol acyl transferase and converts cholesterol to ester and also helps in reverse transport of cholesterol with the help of the HDL. So basically with the help of the alkate enzyme and HDL enzyme, it helps to convert cholesterol to the ester and in the reverse transport of the cholesterol. Lecithin is also a part of cytochrome P450 where it helps in the detoxification. Further, lecithin also helps in digestion and absorption of lipids and this lecithin is also a part of electron transport chain where it helps in the cellular respiration. Another example from the glycerol phospholipids is cephalin. We also call it as phosphatidyl ethanol amine. Why? Because phosphatidyl is the main unit and ethanol amine is the nitrogenous base. Here you can see the structure. Glycerol containing two fatty acids at carbon number 1 and carbon number 2, and phosphate group at the carbon number 3 is the basic unit, which is the phosphatidic acid, and here the nitrogenous base attached is ethanol amine. So this phosphatidyl ethanol amine, which is commonly known as cephalins, this is mostly found in the brain, erythrocytes and many other tissues. This is particularly the rich concentration is in erythrocytes because it helps in blood coagulation by converting prothrombin to thrombin. Here is the structure. You can see. Again, I am showing you, this is the backbone, which is your glycerol. Carbon number 1 is attached with the fatty acid. Carbon number 2 is attached with the fatty acid here with the ester bond. Here, please notify the ester bond here. And carbon number 3, if you see, that has the phosphate group here. And this phosphate group is further linked to the ethanol amine. The next example we have is phosphatidylserine. Since the name suggests phosphatidyl, it means it has phosphatidic acid, the common unit, and the nitrogenous base here is serine. This is commonly found in brain, is found in nervous tissues, and it's found in a small amount in other tissues as well. There are a number of functions where phosphatidyl is involved, like Alzheimer's disease. It is used for the treatment of the Alzheimer's disease. It's also responsible or basically useful in age-related decline in the mental functions. So it can basically enhance the memory. It improves your thinking skills, particularly in young people. And it is also beneficial if the person is having the attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. It is a disorder where the person seeks more attention from the others. So this basically helps to maintain the personality. This is also used in the depression, and it may also prevent exercise-induced stress, and also it can improve the athletic performance. Another example we were having that was phosphatidylserine. This phosphatidyl, along with the phosphatidylserine, we have phosphatidylthreonine, where the serine will be replaced with the threonine. This is the basic structure, and the phosphate group is attached with myoinositol group. So this contains phosphatidic acid, inositol, instead of the nitrogenous base. This phosphatidyl inositol is one of the important component of the cell membrane, and this also gives you the diacylglycerol and inositol triphosphate. Basically, this phosphatidyl inositol can break down into diacylglycerol and inositol triphosphate, and these two, diacylglycerol and inositol triphosphate, are the secondary messengers which helps regulate the hormones. Phosphatidyl inositol also has action in certain hormones like oxytocin and vasopressin. These particularly hormones are regulated or mediated with the help of the phosphatidyl inositol. The next example which we have is the cardiolipin. This is again one example which does not contain nitrogenous base. The name says cardiolipin. Cardio means it has something related to heart. The name was derived because for the first time this phospholipid was identified from the cardiac muscles of the animal. This is also known as diphosphatidyl Why we call it diphosphatidyl Because it contains two molecules of phosphatidic acid which are held together by the glycerol backbone. This cardiolipin is particularly found in mitochondrial membrane, and is found in more quantity in inner mitochondrial membrane, and it has shown antigenic properties. Plus, this is also essential for the numerous enzymes, particularly it optimizes the function of the numerous enzymes in the mitochondrial energy system. And if there is a deficiency of the cardiolipin, it may cause the mitochondrial dysfunction, where mitochondria does not work well and your energy metabolism is disturbed. So here you can see the structure. We are saying this cardiolipin is basically diphosphatidylglycerol. How we say it is diphosphatidyle? 2 units of phosphatidylglycerol are joined together with the glycerol backbone here. So this is the 1 unit of phosphatidic acid. This is the 2nd unit of phosphatidic acid. And here the both phosphatidic acid units are attached with the glycerol backbone. So this 1 unit is known as phosphatidyl glycerol, and here if 2 units are joined together, we simply call it diphosphatidyl glycerol. The next example from the phospholipids we have is plasmolgen. This plasmolgen contains ether linkage. As we say, this does not contain the ester linkage which is found in the previous examples of the phospholipids. This plasmolgen phospholipid is particularly different from the lecithin or cephalin at only one position. So here you can see the difference is here. The backbone, which is the glycerol, the first fatty acid which is attached here, that is attached via ether linkage, not with the ester linkage. And the fatty acid here used is the long chain unsaturated aldehydes. Particularly found is the palmitoyl or the stearic aldehyde. These are found at the carbon number 1, and these are joined together with the ether linkage. Here you can see in the structure, this is the ether linkage and this here is the ester linkage. So carbon number 2, the fatty acid at carbon number 2 is linked via ester linkage, but the first one, carbon number 1, this linkage is via ether linkage. This is the only difference from the lecithin or cephalin, where you will find the carbon number 1, the fatty acid is attached via ester linkage. Apart from that, if it is the lecithin, it will have choline in it. If it's the cephalin, it will have the ethanol amine. Mostly ethanol amine is found there. This plasmolgen is majorly found in skeletal muscles and cardiac muscles, and it helps to protect the mammalian cells against the damaging effects of the reactive oxygen species. So those reactive oxygen species which may cause inflammation, these plasmolgen can help to decrease the effect which is caused by the reactive oxygen species. So these ROS species particularly are they damage our system or they increase the inflammation, and this plasmolgen helps to decrease or protect the mammalian cells from those infections. Another one we have is the platelet activating factor, which is similar to plasmolgen, and it has the ester. It does not have the ester linkage at carbon 1, but it has the ether linkage. This platelet activating factor is a lipid mediator that even in the picomolar concentration can cause the platelet aggregation and can increase the inflammation and can cause the allergic responses. This SPAF is basically helpful in the this is a potent signaling compound which is secreted when there is a tumor or when there are the carcinomas. So this compound is released when your body is having some inflammation or it is having the carcinoma. So the next type of phospholipids which we have is sphingophospholipids. So in the glycerol phospholipids, we were having the backbone as a glycerol. In the previous all examples you have seen, the backbone is the glycerol where your nitrogenous base and phosphate group is attached along with the fatty acids. In the sphingophospholipid, the backbone is your sphingosine, which is your 18 carbon amino alcohol. So this alcohol is attached with the one fatty acid and this is attached via amide linkage. This sphingosine is also attached with the one phosphate group and this phosphate group is further linked to choline, which is a nitrogenous base. So this upper part here you see where your sphingosine and the fatty acid which is joined via amide linkage, if we count only these two, sphingosine attached to the fatty acid, that is known as ceramide. And if this sphingosine attached with the fatty acid, phosphate group and choline, the whole compound is known as sphingomyelin. So in sphingophospholipid, there is only one example, that is the sphingomyelin. Because with the definition of the phospholipid, it must contain alcohol, it must contain fatty acid and one phosphate group. Based on the definition, sphingosine is alcohol. It has one fatty acid linked via amide bond and one phosphate group here which is linked with the nitrogenous base, and that is the choline, and that is one only example of the phospholipids, sphingophospholipid, that is sphingomyelin. This sphingomyelin or sphingophospholipid is majorly found in is useful for making the myelin sheaths. This is found in, that's why it's found in brain, in CNS, in lungs, nerves and other tissues where it helps to form the myelin of the nerve fibers. Along with that, this also helps in the lipid rafts.